Broadcasting from the Blanchistan Centre. This is Phoenix FM.
The internet is a communications tool used the world over where people can come together to bitch about movies and share pornography with one another.
According to the Nerd Index, you should be upside down in a junior high toilet around the clock.
This is Time goes in, time goes out. Never miscommunication.
It's over 9,000!
My name is Foxy.
The balls are in there.
Don't face me, bro! It's a trap! I'm a fire in my labor! Time to Hey, Charlie, wake up! Oh, God, oh, man!
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Nerd to Know Basis Show, airing on Phoenix 92.5 FM and all those other wonderful places on the internet like Spotify and YouTube and of course our own website. I am Cian, and with me this week is Kev. Kev, how are you doing?
I am doing very, very well, Cian. How are you?
I am mostly awake. I'm a teacher near the end of September, so this is sort of the time where everything becomes elastic and you just have to make it to Halloween and then the rest of it's fine. But that's more personal than I was expecting it to be. So, but getting to nerdy news, you were telling me before we heard that there's a lot of Netflix news. Now, I'm going to be honest. I've kind of fallen behind on Netflix. I watched a bit of Chaos, but a lot of the big releases, I'm kind of out of the loop on Netflix. Is Netflix in like a healthy state right now?
I mean, I think it's kind of always in a healthy state because it's always serving so many different audiences at once. And like if it's not serving like, you know, brand new topics like your Chaos, like your One Piece, like your Arcane, it's serving the people who are watching The Office for the umpteenth time.
Well, that's what I mean. Is Netflix there as a vessel to just let everyone watch like the Office or Star Trek if you don't have Paramount, or like is it like the forefront of new content and all that? Like, you know, they're two different beats. Like
you know what? I think it actually probably is. I'd say like it and Amazon are probably the two kind of biggest platforms now for new good stuff. Because I mean, look at Paramount. When was the last time something was new on Paramount that people were talking about?
That's true. I'm terrible for keeping up with things. Well, I suppose I haven't seen it, but the new series of Frasier kicked off this week. So that's one of the that and the Star Trek stuff's the only thing that kind of keeps me coming back to that. Like,
yeah, no, it is distinctly a Star Trek machine for me. So
Star Trek and SpongeBob.
Yes, well, you need SpongeBob for sure.
Yes.
But I think Netflix and Amazon are probably kind of up there in the ones. But one of the big things with Netflix right now is that they had over the past week their Geeked Week event, where all of last week there was small press conferences announcements that had a whole rake of teasers, casting announcements, release dates, all going out for major nerdy properties. So I am actually going to rip right into it because there is about 24 of these. And we're just going to rapid fire down the line. And Cian, you stop me if any of these pique your interest and you want to know more. Okay?
Well, before you even start, are these originals or like sequels or a mix?
Mix.
Okay.
I think a lot of sequel series. I think like a lot of this is already kind of like established properties.
All right. Starting off with, you have my undivided attention. Yeah, go on.
Starting off with, I'd say one of Netflix's biggest successes of the past couple of years is we have news on the second season of Arcane, the League of Legends animated series. We got a teaser trailer, and it's that it will be released in 3 parts, coming out November 9th, then the 16th, then the 23rd. So
wait, it's being released in 2 parts. So do you mean they're dropping like 7 episodes at once, then 7 episodes later?
Probably about 4 episodes at a time.
Okay, I'm
no
still
distinct
unclear
numbers
because Netflix's release schedule used to be just dump them all at once and let God sort it out. And now
It seems like
the
this is
Stranger Things has
more.
sort of gone to a more episodic weekly type structure.
Yeah, it seems like this is more for a like the impression I get is that this is going to be for a story pacing thing.
I know The Witcher did it in 2 drops as well. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of the 2 drops tend to kind of come over a month gap, and that's to get people to subscribe for 2 months as opposed to the one to get the whole show.
Okay.
Okay, next on the list, then we got a casting announcement for the Avatar: The Last Airbender series. We have our Toph, who will be played by one Mia Ketch. I looked her up. Seems like a fairly unknown actress, which I think most of the Avatar cast were. So
well, good for them because, like, you know, I mean, like, I know you kind of talked about mixed feelings on the Avatar show, but like, give a platform to people who haven't been discovered. You know, that is a net good in the world. Like,
oh yeah, and I think while I had like my problems with Avatar were the writing and the tone. I can't say any. I have very little bad to say about the actual performances,
right?
In that show, especially the guy that played Zuko. He knocked it out of the park.
I've heard that Zuko and the uncle were the scene stealers. Yeah,
they absolutely were. Okay, down to the next announcement. We got a teaser trailer and a release window for a Devil May Cry animated series.
Oh, is this the same studio that did Castlevania?
I don't know if it's the same studio. I don't have a mention of the studio, but I think if it's not the same studio, it's a very, very similar style.
Okay.
That's
intriguing.
So, yeah, and I think, it'll probably have it'll have that very same tone. Devil May Cry is that kind of dark, bloody, gory, but still kind of goofy and funny.
All right.
Animation looks really smooth, and we also got and it just shows off Dante shooting a bunch of demons. Okay, next on the docket, we have Squid Game Season 2.
Finally!
We got it. Yeah, no. Whoever said better late than never, right? But
look, my policy is I don't mind waiting 10 years for a second series as long as it's good.
Yeah, and I think that even though it is so long that I think there would have been diminishing returns on it, they have picked, I think, the perfect day to release it, which is going to be Stephen's Day this year. Because what else is anyone in this country going to do than sit on the couch and watch Squid Game on Stephen's Day?
That's
perfect.
Yeah,
that is laser precision
Christmas
release.
for like all that. Yeah, I think that's great. And also I think they waited just long, like, because if they did it the year after, it would have been too soon. And if they left it like 5 or 6 years, it would have been too. I think they're hitting that sweet spot where Squid Game is like just nostalgic, but not so much that it's of its time. Like, that seems like a good time to do it. Like,
yeah, I think so. It just, it feels I'd say it's a bit longer than they should have left it, but I think it all falls back on the quality. I mean, I think a lot of people thought the ending was a bit rushed and weird that we're getting a sequel at all. So remains to be seen. We'll find out on Stephen's Day. Next up, apparently, we are getting a Magic the Gathering animated series. Very little is known about it, but
the card game.
Yes,
okay.
The card game that's developed by Wizards of the Coast, who also did Dungeons the Dragons. So much like similar to D&D, while it itself doesn't have explicit narratives. Same with Magic the Gathering, there is lore tied behind a lot of the cards.
Right. Okay.
So no more information on that, just that is happening. We have an announcement of Black Mirror Season 7.
Yes, I did see this with a huge roster of like well-known actors and all that.
Yeah, including Issa Rae, Aquafina, and Paul Giamatti. So we got a teaser trailer and a rough release window of sometime in 2025.
And Peter Capaldi.
I'm going to take your word for that because I'm looking at one list here and it does not mention him.
Well, that list is wrong.
Omitting. Okay, moving on.
Well, don't zip along just yet because, like, what are your feelings on like Black Mirror? Because I really liked season 6. I know a lot of people it wasn't really to their taste, but like, what are your kind of feelings on Black Mirror in general? Like,
I have never watched an episode of Black Mirror.
Whoa! I would have thought you'd have seen one by accident by now.
No. My fiance has watched most of them, and I just never got around to it.
Okay, because like I've been watching Black Mirror since it was on television. That's that's how long I've been with it. And I also want to point out I was I was Googling Black Mirror to have the full list of the season 7 actors. And on the people also ask, the top question is, what the heck is Black Mirror about?
Whatever you want it to be about.
I've never seen a heck in a Google automated response. Or
Damn, can't believe censorship is getting the Google search bar.
what the flippin' flip?
What the fuck?
Oh my god. Right, yes, I'm
So,
I'm looking up the actors now. But okay, so you've got like no particular feelings or anything like that going into it.
no, at any time the thought has cropped up, should I watch Black Mirror? I've
Hmm.
never been in like a good enough mental health state to like, but to watch sheer dystopia.
Yeah, I wouldn't like Black Mirror. It does with bleak episodes, but it is kind of a black comedy as well. It's not every episode isn't entirely like grim and unpleasant. I think its
Mm.
style goes a long way to help with it. I'm looking up a list now. Rashida Jones is also on there from like The Office and Parks and Rec and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Chris O'Dowd. Uh
Oh yeah, for the IT crowd. Yeah.
yeah. Jimmy Simpson, Harriet Walter, like
Starston. I
Billy
mean, like I think
Magnuson,
that's
brackets Roadhouse.
they've been stunt casting. I think for the last couple of seasons. I mean, Miley Cyrus was one of the kind of was in like probably one of the biggest ones. I think was last season.
That was season 5.
Season 5.
Yeah, I think stunt casting, it's accurate, but it's not it doesn't really capture the whole picture because like Inside Number 9 and other things like it is an anthology show. So every episode is structured around a brand new character. So I think it does make sense to have a few big name actors in the mix because Black Mirror gets a name and they get essentially what is a 45-hour long movie that showcases themselves. So it is a bit of an everyone wins situation. Like,
Oh yeah, no, like there's worse cases for stunt casting, absolutely, but like they are using those names to draw in numbers.
oh yeah, well, how else are they going to do it? It's
Yeah.
like you said, like you ready to get depressed and entirely suspicious of your phone? Well, boy, howdy, have we got
We're in for a
6 hours of
rip-roaring
grief for
time.
you?
Yeah, maybe. Hey, you listen. Maybe this will be the year I watch it. Who knows? Probably not.
It's if you ever do, watch episode 2 first. Episode 1 has aged very well in terms of its political content, but it does put a lot of people off. Whereas the episode 2, A Million Little Merits, is essentially like a silent film. It's beautiful, like it's a great place to start.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind. Okay, we still have a minute, doesn't announcements, so we're going to keep on trucking. So
You gave me
next-
permission to interrupt.
That's fair. That's so fair. We have Disney things to catch up to talk about, Kean. We are under time.
Oh my God. But how will people know about Disney if we don't tell them?
I know. Who
So
will
niche
listen?
and obscure.
How will people talk about the mega corporations? if
Someone
we,
has to feed the mouse.
the humble podcaster, will not tell them?
Don't you worry, Disney Corp. 2 Dubliners are here to save the day.
We'll be on to you soon enough. Okay, next on this then, we got a first trailer for a Splinter Cell animated series. Netflix seemed to really be in on the video game animated series.
I'm noticing
adaptations.
that, yeah. I'm surprised
Yeah,
they
and-
got the rights to the Phoenix Wright anime, even though I know they didn't produce it. But like, just since that's the audience they're courting.
I think that was just before Castlevania came out.
Okay,
I seem to remember that being a while ago.
right.
So yeah, no, same again. We got a teaser, no distinct release date. So moving on, we got a teaser trailer for Wednesday, which
Yes, I
couldn't have come
saw
at a
that.
better
Yes,
time, considering Jenna Ortega is, I think, doing numbers from Beetlejuice.
yes. But Beetlejuice is doing well because of Wednesday. It's one of those like endless little loops.
yeah. Tim Burton is doing fine, let's say.
Can I just say, even though I haven't seen Beetlejuice, I did watch Wednesday Series 1, and it's nice to see Tim Burton caring again. Even if he is sort of kind of, doing his shtick from years ago. It's just nice to see. It's nice because there's so few directors that are sort of their own brand. It's nice to see him get a bit of life into him again. Like,
Well, that's the thing. I think like he's fallen back into his shtick because I was listening to a podcast about this recently enough. He got so disenfranchised about filmmaking because of Dumbo. Dumbo sapped the soul of like filmmaking creativity.
oh well, he was checked out before Dumbo.
Yeah, but apparently
I
Dumbo was
watched a
the
bit of Miss
nail in the coffin.
Peregrine's on TV, and I never would like. Oh, it's got that kind of gothic
Yeah.
thing to it, but I never would have guessed it was a Tim Burton film.
So I think Dumbo just kind of killed his like just energy for trying to do anything for like the Hollywood machine.
Right.
So that when I think Wednesday came in, and Netflix usually give like a lot of like creative control on its projects, particularly just somebody with a name like Burton. I think it sparked that just kind of a classical era. It sparked into something like Big Fish, I think.
Yeah.
Where it's just a spark creativity. And then, with that momentum, we got Beetlejuice, and then second season of Wednesday was already in production.
Yeah, because to be clear, I don't need Tim Burton to do his, like, I know he didn't direct it, but Nightmare Before Christmas stick all the time. I just want him to be invested in whatever he's making and creative and all that, like,
Yeah, you want a filmmaker to care.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, it's just, I mean, I don't know the man, but like, he was the most exciting director of his generation, and seeing that gradual decline, it is dispiriting, like,
Yeah, no, it's good to see him just trying again, even if it is like treading ground he's already done. It's good that it's doing well. Like it doesn't feel like he's cashing in.
Sorry, go on. Sorry.
No, just it feels like it's treading ground, but it's not rehashing old ideas.
Yes, like I think that the trio of him, Johnny Depp, and Helena Bonham Carter. Obviously, Johnny Depp would take up about 15 podcast episodes by this point. But Bonham Carter, I feel like, also is having a new lease of life, because that Nolly thing that she was in that came out last year was amazing. Like, so it's good to see sort of a second wind in very creative, talented people in the industry. Like,
Yeah. No. I think Wednesday was a good enough success. I'm happy to see more. I'm excited. I'm excited to see where that'll go.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, back on the video game adaptation side, we have a new teaser trailer for Castlevania Nocturne Season 2.
It's still going.
They kind of soft rebooted Castlevania.
I remember you telling me on a different episode. Yeah, I assume it's one done though.
No, that Nocturne ended with an open hanger for more and more exciting. And like that's been a consistently great show, even through like the end of the first Castlevania series and through Nocturne. So I'm already in. That's easy. We got a teaser and 2025 release date. While we're on the train, Tomb Raider: Legend of Lara Croft is another animated series of video game adaptation. Strike the bingo card, Ian. We'll just keep going.
Animation used to take a long time and cost a lot of money. It feels like a lot of these things are coming out all at once and very quickly.
Netflix has both in spades. To be fair, I think a lot of the ones I've been seeing have been like, we're getting teasers. These are coming out next year.
Right.
Tomb Raider, though, apparently is coming out October 10th, so that is soon.
Okay.
This one is absolutely my jam. We got a lot of news on the One Piece adaptation recently.
Right.
Huge swaths of casting announcements there over the past couple of weeks, actually. With the announcement of Princess Vivi Nefertiti being played by the actress who played Edwina Bridgerton in the second season of Bridgerton, or Edwina Swarma.
Okay, but Bridgerton is like, it's. I suppose that is kind of at this point that and Wednesday are Netflix's flag shows, aren't they? Like,
Yeah. Oh, Bridgerton would be definitely the golden goose of that. So Sharma,
yeah.
Edwina Sharma. So yeah, no, I can see the jump there. And Dr. Gray has been played by, while her name escapes me, she's the voice actress for Leela in Futurama.
Oh, lovely. I've been wondering
Um,
about this, and maybe you'd have an answer, maybe not. But
hmm.
like when big name actors sign up to Netflix, do they sign like a 3 show deal or something? Because there
Oh.
was like an hour, 20-minute movie with Billy Piper, like unveiling all the Prince Andrew stuff. And then I saw her being announced for Wednesday series 2. It's like, oh, yeah, another Netflix thing. And then first episode of Chaos. Oh, there she is again. And now you're saying that people are crossing over from Bridgerton into One Piece. Now it could just be Netflix has all the work, but I have been noticing like actors turning up in 2 or 3 projects on Netflix all at the same time. Like,
That's it. You might have hit the nail on the head. It might be it might be that they're being contracted for several projects in the one go. It might also be that just, yeah, these Netflix contracts are more lucrative than, you know, cable TV shows.
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, we've talked at length about the diminishing returns of cable television these days.
That's just
Um,
it. Yeah, unless they like somehow make the jump to streaming, like the likes of the Bear or something like that.
yeah. So, like, yeah, you could be absolutely right, but the only people who could know that are the talent signing these contracts and the
Hmm.
companies writing.
Okay. I apologize for like sidetracking you there.
No. So the announcement you got actually there was that we have the two big announcements are the let me see were the reveals of the actors playing Nico Robin, who is one of the main crew of the show
In One
coming
Piece, yeah.
through of in One Piece from about this point in the manga on.
Right.
And Crocodile, who's going to be basically the main antagonist through about the next 2 seasons. So Crocodile is being played by Joe Manganiello. Joe Manganiello. He was the only. I know the guy. I know the act. I know his face. The only thing I can seem to remember him being in is he was supposed to be Deathstroke
Right.
in, like, I think it was teased in Suicide Squad before
Oh,
that entire
yeah.
era of DC got
He was no, it
canned.
was Justice League. He was on a boat with Lex Luthor. Yeah.
Justice League. Yes, yeah. And Robin is being played by. Why is it taking me so long to find this?
If anyone
Uh,
could send faster Wi-Fi to Kev.
yeah, it is going to be played by Lyra Abova, who is a fairly unknown Russian model and actress.
Okay. Again,
But
nice new faces on a big platform. Always
oh
approve.
god, yeah. And I mean, the rest of the crew of One Piece are truly spot on. It is insane how that show could cast somebody to be Monkey D. Luffy, considering he is a walking Looney Tunes cartoon. But they found him, and his name's Inaki Godoy.
It's a
So-
shame that what's it called? Cowboy Bebop was kind of in the first wave of these because they seem to have kind of like again mixed feelings on Last Airbender, but they seem to have found their formula, and it's a shame they kind of rolled the dice on that one first. I'm sure they could have breathed a lot of life into that one if they did it later. Like,
I mean, I think it really. I think it typically comes down to the people at like spearheading the actual production.
okay,
I don't know the guy. I don't know the showrunner's name, but he has gotten in front of the camera, and this man loves One Piece. Like, he is dedicated. Like, he between him and the author of One Piece, Eiichiro Oda, being heavily involved in production, like, the showrunner will talk to Oda and make sure that it has Oda's say in every aspect.
Mm.
So, like, this is just the showrunner having like a I wouldn't say a slavish devotion because it is still adapting it to live action, but a real reverence to the original and making sure
yeah,
that
it's not just because I'm not sure we may have covered this before, but like when Hollywood or Netflix or someone comes along and they look at something like a One Piece and they don't revere it, they go, how can I fix this and make it into
how can I make
think,
this make the most money?
yeah, well, there is that, but also like they're willing to compromise Like I still remember like the Darren Shan Vampire's Assistant movie, which I didn't mind at the time, but I've grown to hate since. Where they took three of my favorite books, and changed around so many elements so they could fit that Act One, Act Two, Act Three. That they got discarded characters, changed the tone, and that is like the ultimate example to me of like someone who doesn't care about their source material.
Yeah.
They just want to crank out a movie and they want to reshape the elements in the source material to fit their pre-existing vision. And it doesn't sound like that's what's going on with One Piece. Like,
No, One Piece is here. We're getting One Piece is very much we're getting to the heart of what people love about this series and adapting it only so much in our ability to make this into a live action property.
yes.
Like its adaptations are being made solely for function. Like not to try and rewrite the story into something more consumable.
Yes,
it is still
yes.
One Piece at the end of the day.
That's just it. It's not like a completely transformed thing. It is One Piece in a new format, like, you know.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Like you're getting most of the same story.
Yes.
So you know what? I was shocked that this even got a season 2, and I hope I am fascinated to see how long this might go.
Oh, well, I'm sure, like, I mean, look at one of the Comic-Cons last year was basically the One Piece thing. My brother goes to loads of them in the States, and there's always like a healthy One Piece showing. So I think it might be, I mean, it was never small, but it wouldn't surprise me if it was the next big thing on the forefront of like nerd culture, if it's not there already. But are there any
I
other
hope so.
Netflixy things that got announced?
There is, Kian. Would you be excited about a Rebel Moon video game on Netflix? Moving on, we have
Did the microphone pick up my beleaguered sigh?
just about.
I
Uh,
I didn't know about this. I did see that there is a Zack Snyder Norse animated movie coming out though.
that's you know what? Yeah. Um, what was it? Twilight of the Gods. I
Yeah,
have that
yeah,
a
yeah.
little further down. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, and again, very similar to that kind of Castlevania. It wasn't Zack Snyder, but there was that Blood of Zeus animated series.
Okay.
I think that's getting a season 2 now soon as well, if it hasn't already. So yeah, again, Netflix really cranking out those like short form animated series.
But like the
Uh,
Snyder thing is so bizarre. And I was thinking because I was reading the reviews on the second of the Rebel Moon movies
hmm,
a few days ago. And I kind of think, well, why invest in these if these just annoy people? And then very helpfully, Red Letter Media put out a little video today, which, like us, is just them listing all the things that are sequels or remakes or reboots that are coming out in the next 2 years. And they then quickly glance at all the things that are cancelled that were all original properties. And you think, okay, like Tim Burton, Zack Snyder is kind of a genre unto himself. And
yeah,
that will rise above all of the original things, even the successful ones, like what's that one doing the rounds? Three body thing or something like that. Like,
oh, the three body problem. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. Because like people have to really take a chance on that, but people kind of know Zack Snyder, whatever. They always deal and they'll watch it or they'll complain about it, and it still translates to hits, doesn't it? Like,
yeah. I respect that he has the position and is trying to make something original. I am just not interested in his bargain bin version of Star Wars.
well, I was gonna say, original is doing a lot of heavy lifting there. He's
Yeah,
taking existing things and filtering them through his style. It's basically what we were complaining about that Tim Burton did like 10 years ago.
yeah. No, it's like it it is and it is. You know, it is just Star Wars through Zack Snyder's lens. But if that's like he has the ability, if that is his vision, if this is what he wants to do, I respect it.
Yes.
I'm just not going to watch it.
Oh, what a little sting in the tail there.
Next on the rocket, then we have Netflix have announced with no clear details another animation partnership with Cyberpunk. Did you ever watch
Okay.
Edge Runners? Actually, the Cyberpunk anime.
I see. I didn't play the video game, so I assumed that Cyberpunk would be too out of the realm of experience for me. Like,
No, do you know? I watched it before I played the game, and I think it's still I think it holds up genuinely without having to play the game.
okay, all right.
It's an exceptional series. Now, as I said, this one there's almost no details on it. Part of what made Edge Runners so good and interesting is that it was made by Studio Trigger, and Imaishi was the director. So the same guy that made like Gurren Lagann and Kill la Kill and Little Witch Academia.
Some proper
so,
established talent, like.
Yeah, like really like grade A studio. So as I said, this one does not have those details. We will that'll be a wait and see years down the line when we get more on that. We are getting a Witcher animated series in February.
That doesn't surprise me. That's another one of those household names. Although it needs to be seen without Henry Cavill, whether it will continue to be.
Well, here's the thing. I think this is dropping before the next season. Neither Liam Hemsworth or Henry Cavill are the voice actor of Geralt in this movie. They got Geralt's original voice actor, Doug Cockle.
That's a good grab. But yeah, okay.
I think actually what I was a little bit disappointed at is that they announced that, but Jaskier is still being done by Joey Beatty, who's the live action Jaskier.
Okay, bit of a mix and match. Okay.
Yeah, listen, he's good at what he does. He's a great Jaskier. I think it would have been fun to have both the video games Geralt and the video games Jaskier in. But that's just me.
I get where you're coming from, but I like it when they mix and match. Like, pull an example, The Boys did like an animated anthology series a year or two ago, and for whatever reason, they didn't get the Huey and Butcher actors, Carl Urban and I'm sorry, Huey's actor's name escapes me, but the lower decks.
Oh, Jack Quaid.
Thank you. Instead, they got Jason Isaacs as Butcher, and they got Simon Pegg as Huey. Which is cute in its own way, because he's an equally good Butcher, and Simon Pegg is the actor who Huey is based on in the comics. So
plus
if you're going to go animated, why not explore other options? You know, why not mix and match a bit?
I suppose. No, it's fine. It's what I would have.
It is an acknowledgement of both, I suppose.
Yeah. And it looks like it's kind of just a side story where they go and fight like sea creatures. So, not out of canon.
Yeah.
Next, then we got a trailer for Sakamoto Days, which is going to be a new anime project. Sakamoto Days, known particularly because it is one of Shonen Jump's current biggest running manga series.
Okay.
About an ex-assassin who runs a convenience store with his wife and child, who ends up becoming he's old and fat and grey, but he's still a honed killer, and the target ends up on his head.
Do they mention manga and anime like a sort of a Mad Libs thing? Former soldier works in a Tesco being hunted by ghosts. A cat works in a zoo helping dragons.
Hell yeah. And you know what? It absolutely works for me.
It always works.
Every single time.
Look, I'm not throwing shade. I rewatched the deer thing and the dragon maid thing. I will watch it. I just have noticed A plus B equals C from the adapted and manga to anime community for a while now. Sure, even the thing you just described there is like The House Husband, on Netflix.
Yes. Yeah. So no, this is in the same way Spy Family was a big property from Shonen Jump. This is in much the same vein. So hotly anticipated. Netflix also have the streaming rights for the next Gundam series in Gundam Requiem for Vengeance, which I believe is coming in October, and SpongeBob Bubble Pop Fun is now available on Netflix Games. That's the announcement.
It makes sense. The third SpongeBob movie, or possibly fourth, I lose track of them, did just come out 2 months ago, and it was quite good. but I don't understand Netflix games. I'm too old. I'm not going to try. I won't review
There's
them,
a
but I am scared of them.
there's a you know what? I'd had a go at one because on top of the fact that like a lot of them are just like mobile shill games, some
Mm.
of them are actually genuinely good indie games
Okay, okay.
that are just that are just like if you have a Netflix subscription, it's just there. Like you can just play it on your phone. Like you can play Bastion by just having a Netflix subscription. And Bastion is a very good video game.
Okay, well, when you put it like that, if it's free anyway with your existing subscription, like,
Yeah, no, it's just there. Like I think I tried to play Kentucky Route Zero, and more just the fact that I did get the game. Like I didn't get what it was trying to do.
mm.
But it ran fine and it was there. I didn't have to pay for it because it's on Netflix.
Oh my God. I can see the reviews now. It was there. 5 stars.
This is not a review of my 1 hour playing Kentucky Route Zero. This is just me stating a fact that if you have a Netflix subscription, it is there. You can play it.
Oh my God. All right, is there any other Netflixy things?
No, that's the run. That's the run. It took us 30 minutes.
Most of
I
the
told you there
episodes.
was a lot. Most of the episode. Kian, tell me about Agatha All Along.
Da, 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 da. Yes, I'm glad you brought it up because we're kind of we are recording this on the day that the Thunderbolts trailer dropped, which I have
Hmm.
been discreetly watching with the sound off uh just before the show. And it's yeah, Agatha All Along coupled with the Deadpool thing might be a bit of an start of an upswing for Marvel, which they've happened before, but this felt like a very needed upswing. I honestly had no expectations for Agatha. I knew it was probably going to drop around now because Marvel do tend to do Halloween things and Christmas things.
Hmm.
Uh, but I personally was very pleasantly surprised. I'm glad they dropped the first 2 episodes because episode 1 is kind of its own thing. I'm not sure how much we're allowed to spoil. And episode 2 is really kind of the promise of the premise. I mean, what did you think of it?
I went in with negative expectations because
Oh, really
it
negative?
it felt like a TV series that was too long overdue. Like it was a sequel to it was a sequel too long in the making
Mm,
that had the impression to me of having gone through about a dozen rewrites. Like
okay.
that was on the run up to it. That was my impression from the outside looking in, and so I went in expecting to absolutely hammer this thing into the ground, and
Mm.
I came out really pleasantly surprised.
Yes, I agree. And it's worth pointing out that the Agatha Harkness character, I mean, WandaVision was kind of the breakout, love it or hate it, was kind of the breakout thing of phase 4.
Yeah.
And like her character was like the breakout character of WandaVision, and coupled with the fact that it is the WandaVision writing and directing team back for this one,
Mm.
uh it shouldn't be as surprising because like that this works. Because if you think about it, like all of the phase 4 stuff, all the big things, all the crossovers, like Agatha is like a Marvel popularity F grade witch. And it's purely on the strength of Catherine Hahn, as Han or Hind, you know?
I think it's like
Han.
Han or Han.
Purely
Yeah.
purely on the charm of Catherine Hahn, this character grabbed people's attention. And obviously some of it is the fact that she was sort of a question mark character for the first half of WandaVision.
Mm.
But like how often do Marvel cast an actor as a villain and have that villain actually like leave a lasting impression? I can't remember the
Uh,
last time they did it. Like,
they did it exactly once. His name was Loki, and they milked it dry.
that's it. I wouldn't be that harsh. I mean, Thanos is great. I quite like Hela. Like, I think there are a few, but like villains who purely succeed on the charm of their actor, especially a not known actor. You're right. Loki would be the nearest comparison. But I'm obviously a complete Marvel like shill. So what is your non-objective like take on why you liked the first two episodes of this?
I mean, it like you hit the nail on the head. The main thing that really just brought this down and made it really enjoyable was the strength of Catherine Hahn's charisma.
Mm.
Obviously, it helps that she's surrounded by a really stellar supporting cast.
Mm.
I mean, putting Aubrey Plaza as like a rival, maybe lover,
Yes.
lovers to enemies sort of like character, exceptional. It's great.
I didn't look up the cast of this, and that was one of the few very pleasant surprises in these first two episodes.
And then Joe Locke playing the mystery kind of protege, who's kind of a bumbling young teenage wannabe witch.
Yeah, do you know Joe Locke for anything else?
I know he was in Heartstoppers, but I never watched it.
Okay, all right.
But yeah, no, it's a lot of fun. And then on top of that, like, so you have Catherine Hahn, who is again just a pure force of like charisma, just carrying through. Again, I think we could easily say like the first episode has a similar hook to WandaVision, except instead of 60s sitcoms, they do discount True Detective.
Yeah, actually, I will look it up now, and I apologize for not having it ready. But people have put side by side that it is literally frame for frame a recreation of a popular like crime movie. Like,
Yeah. And that's have like Catherine Hahn really hamming up the hard boiled detective is exceptional. It's like it leaves you hanging for about a minute or two of like, wait, is this real? Is she actually a detective? And then she really starts chewing the scenery, and you're like, this is a dream. This is a dream, and this is what Wanda has left her. Okay, we're in it.
Yeah, because they don't play up the like. I mean, you know that it's going to be like a dreamlike thing or some kind of spell thing by virtue of Catherine Hahn not playing Agatha, but like they don't really lean into it in the same way they did in WandaVision. There's a few tropey things. Like Aubrey Plaza coming in, it's like it's the South Park thing. Not anymore, you're not. I'm taking this case off you, and I'm the CIA. There's a couple of things like that, but it does commit to its style. It does really feel like a murder investigation, doesn't it?
It does. And now after that, then we get back to the real world. She breaks out of the curse, and then it's her finding the Covenant, going down the Witch's Road. Which I think that's the second point that I think is really in this show's favor. The biggest problem with the past several Marvel projects is that all of them have felt like setup for, well, initially felt like setup for a pretty rushed villain, but now they're set up for a villain who got canned, who is now a different villain. So, like Ant-Man Quantumania is my favorite punching bag. Because that movie was a setup for a villain who no longer exists now. So that movie serves no function anymore. This is not trying to set up anything other than its own story. At least now. We're only 2 episodes in. This could entirely be a prequel to the Fantastic Four or the Thunderbolts. Who can say? But as of right now, it seems like it's its own self-contained story just in the universe. And that's absolutely the best way it should be.
Yeah, and it's not just like a Marvel-y thing. I mean, like for one thing, absolute stack cast of female actors and characters, which is always nice. Not enough of those, and not in like a patronizing type way either.
Not in the glamour shot Infinity War.
No, you don't get Patty LaPone in and like don't give her something good to do. Like,
Oh my god. It's actually the one that got me. I had to pause and tell Louise about it. Was the goop egg joke? I can't believe they went. I can't believe they went there, considering Gwyneth Paltrow's foundation of this franchise.
Yes,
that killed me.
Absolutely, and I mean, are we spoiling? Just to be clear, I mean,
not
by the time this goes out, episode 3 will be out. So
yeah, I think so. Yeah, there's no major revelations. This is all set up for the space.
no, I just wanted to say the way they included Deborah Jo Rupp, the actor from that '70s show, back
Oh
into it
yes,
was delightful. They needed like an Earth Witch, and they didn't have one, so they
so
just
she
grabbed
picks
a
up a
neighbor who's like a
gardener.
bit green fingered, and that counts.
It's wonderful. I'd be excited to see what they do with her now as just a random old lady who's in this like evil forest.
Yeah, because she's delightful, like, in
Yeah.
anything. Like, and she was definitely only really in the first episode of WandaVision, so there's plenty to explore there. And actually, that's a good point in and of itself. But we're kind of spoiling away. I was shocked that they basically confirmed that Scarlet Witch is dead. I mean, obviously, there's always wiggle room, but that was a pretty shocking thing for a pretty much the Disney Plus TV show to latch onto. Like the body was crushed from above, which is how Wanda left the Doctor Strange movie. And
Yeah,
then
I mean, I think there was always like it was crushed, but I think there was always kind of an ambiguity on if she was actually dead or like, are they gonna wiggle this
I
one
mean,
out?
look, they could decide to bring her back tomorrow and they'd find a
Yeah,
way to do it. Where magic is concerned, there's always wiggle room. But
yeah.
that caught me off guard. And then I love that they got pretty much all of the neighbor actors, all the Westview actors back from
Mm,
WandaVision. And the fact that the whole detective thing, we find out, was just her wandering around, talking to these
raving.
befuddled people and just sort of playing along with it. That's gonna be really fun on the rewatch. Like,
Yeah, no. It is a thoroughly charming and delightful TV series
mm.
that I just again I like it's early to say. I hope it sticks to landing. That's all I can
Yeah,
say.
because it is worth pointing out that we have a pattern, not just with Marvel, but with these sort of anthology series in general, of like they'll put all their eggs in one basket in the first two, and then the next 5 or 6 episodes feel like a movie that's chopped up into 20-minute chunks. I'm
Yeah.
hoping this isn't the case with this one. First of all, because usually on these Marvel things, the first episode's great, and then the second episode is a bit blah. Ahsoka was a bit like that too,
Mm.
which didn't happen here. The second episode was even better than the first one, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Uh,
and I think we have a pretty kind of good roadmap of like, do we know how long this is? 6, 8 episodes?
to be honest, I'm assuming it's gonna finale around Halloween,
Yeah,
so maybe
we
8 episodes. Like,
maybe 8, but I think we've got a good. I think we've got a pretty good kind of like roadmap of what each episode can do and be well paced, considering it has introduced 4 to 5 witches who we have little to no context and backstory for going into this like spooky dreamscape. So I think
that's
I
just
think an episode kind of delving into each of them is probably the best path forward.
that's it. Hopefully, and I hope that it's at the level of like visual imagination sticks with it, because
Yeah.
I'd hate for it to turn into like a green screeny, like wandering around just reacting to things that aren't there type thing. Which, I mean, sure, you've already brought up Quantum Mania. Uh, Something I like about it though is that it has like a theme running through it, which a lot of these Marvel things don't. Of like witchcraft and witchery in general, and I think it's communicated really well in the credits sequence with like
Mm.
all of the like the witch from Snow White, even like Lisa Simpson dressed as a witch, all the kind of pop culture-y type thing. Uh, like even I can't remember which character it was in episode 2. It was like people like you give witches a bad name. Like I
Oh,
like
that
how,
was Patty the Pone. Yeah,
yeah, like I like how witches, both in pop culture and in history, are sort of being explored in these 2 episodes. That isn't something we really had time to dig into in WandaVision. So I'd be really interested to see them continue that, because that is something that will elevate a Marvel thing into something that stands on its own. Like WandaVision had that by exploring pop culture. So I
Mm.
hope they continue that here.
Well, I mean, even then, like we didn't really get a lot on Agatha Harkness in WandaVision. She just kind of showed up, said, "Hi, it's me. I'm an evil witch," and then got into a laser battle with her. So
That's just
like
it.
there
She was
there
she
is
got
still a lot of room to like to even delve into her still.
That's true, and everyone kind of turned on the very last episode of WandaVision, and that was her main show-stopping moment. But yeah, I'm very encouraged and excited by this. It feels like, I mean, look, what more could be said about Marvel that isn't being said in 100 other podcasts?
Mm.
But I think the momentum of the Marvel machine took over like movies and TV shows being individual things that can be enjoyed on their own merits. And this feels like a step backwards between that and Deadpool and Wolverine being sort of a retrospective celebration of the 2000s era movies. It does feel like substance is kind of being plugged back into these things now.
Yeah, I'm still gonna watch all of them. I'm hopeful for this, but it hasn't encouraged me to be hopeful about the rest of the franchise just yet.
Well, the
I
Thunderbolts
still
trailer looks good, and
I still
and
haven't
the
watched
Falcon
it. You
trailer
told me
looks
about
good.
that. You told me about that 2 minutes before we hit record, Gian. I'll watch that after this recording. But that's like the Thunderbolts seems weird, and I've kind of no interest in Captain America. So I'm still sitting on the fence of like, well, I'll just see. I'll take it as it comes. I'm also as hopeful as I am about Agatha All Along staying good. I am still willing to put 10 quid on this ending in a big laser battle.
I mean, yeah, it could happen. I mean, look, Secret Wars, similar thing, started out very promising, then Marvel's gonna Marvel. I'm remaining optimistic for now. I think they've started with two very strong episodes and a strong roster of characters.
Mm.
And even if it ends up in a laser battle, if those characters remain interesting during the laser battle, it won't bother me too much. You know, I don't mind a trope as long as it's in service of something more interesting.
That's fair. That's fair. No, I'm gonna watch it. It's earned enough for me to continue watching it, which I can't say about a lot of the Marvel TV shows recently.
Yeah, well, I mean, Marvel very wisely, I think, slowed it down this year. I think before Deadpool and Thingy, like it was just Echo, which dropped all at once, and then no one talked about it apart from me. Oh, I suppose X-Men 97, although that's kind of in its own little bubble.
That's its own thing. Yeah, yeah. Like I wouldn't call that like that's not MCU. You know.
Yeah. Well, I think they're paving the road to like the likes of the Fantastic Four and all that by stripping away all the kind of interlinked multiversal stuff, which is the right tact. Whether it'll be, look, Zack Snyder is still going, and I would say three-quarters of the audience have turned on him. I could easily see Marvel having a sort of a renaissance period in a year's two time. Now, whether the Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom thing will lift that up or push it down, who knows? But I appreciate effort, and I like when franchises take feedback and adjust. It doesn't happen as much as it should. So I'm optimistic about Agatha All Along and Marvel in general.
Yeah, you know what, Keane, you're absolutely right. If Zack Snyder could make a bargain bin Star Wars, Marvel
And
can
everyone
make a
loves
good TV
it.
show. Well, that is us, and we are out of time. But I apologize, Keane. We will get back to your Nintendo retrospective, and next week might be as good a time as any because I should also have some Nintendo opinions for you because that new Legend of Zelda comes out next week. So
Oh, goody.
tune in next week. Tune in next week to hear me talk about Zelda and then games that are also 40 years old.
40 years old
and-
and apocalypse themed, oddly enough. I'm not even joking.
Well,
Four
Zelda,
apocalypse games and one angry hippie with a boat. That's up next.
see, this is all in your future if you go to nerdtomedia.com, find all of our social links there, go to our YouTube channel, our Spotify, subscribe to our YouTube channel. There is still 3 episodes a day, I believe Dara said, going up.
Hey, that man doesn't sleep. That's probably why he's here today.
Yeah, he's editing videos diligently, just working the minds. So please validate Dara's hard work by subscribing to our YouTube channel and follow us on all of our socials, and also check out our Patreon. We always appreciate, if you appreciate what we do, we would always appreciate a few dollars. And until next time, I have been Kev.
And I have been Kian.
And we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Check out the Wrestling Rewind here on Phoenix 92.5 FM every Tuesday at 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. And of course, over on nerdtoknowmedia.com, the only wrestling podcast by wrestling fans who don't hate wrestling. We'll see you then.
Thank you for listening to a Nerd to Know Media production.